Those scones are really good.
Okay, but they're not as sweet as American scones.
They're not.
And we actually got scones a couple different places. So at Malahide Castle, but also at a cafe near the National Gallery. And in both cases, it's like, wow, this is a really good scone. Like, it's moist, it's dense, but it's not as sweet as what we were used to. So, like, we did have to get, like, mentally realize, oh, yeah, things aren't as sweet here. Because when I first took a bite of that first scone, I'm like, oh, this isn't quite what I expected. But, like, as I ate it, I realized it was really good scone.
I mean, the scones that we get around here at
Meyer.
I
mean, they have frosting on them.
They're really good and they're sweet.
Okay, they're, like, good for American scones, but, like, they weren't as good. Like, they were a lot drier. They aren't as good as scones. They just they add sugar until we like them, even because they're not as high quality. That's what I think they do. Overall, I thought the food was really fantastic.
Yeah.
We basically ate out a lot because there's so many great restaurants to try in Dublin. And, like, it's not all Irish food. We like Irish food. But, like, also there's a lot of different ethnic types. So we got Greek food one night, Thai food a different night, Irish food another night, Italian food that last night. All delicious. Also, all really well labeled. I feel like that was really nice. If I wanted to be vegan, like, it was clearly labeled what it's vegan. If I wanted to avoid dairy, it was clearly what had dairy.
I don't like fish usually, but fish and chips at a nearby pub were great. And I don't like fish, but they're so good.
Yeah, so I was, of course, planning to get fish and chips because everyone says, gotta get the fish and chips. It's so fantastic. Oh my god, they are not kidding. They really, I mean, I like fish and chips everywhere, but especially in Dublin. We went to Darky Kelly's because they had traditional Irish music playing, and we also got dinner there. So good. I think their fish is fresh caught from the sea, so it's really more delicious than usual. What did you got? The one thing we didn't love though was the cheesecake.
Yeah, cheesecake.
Again, because their desserts aren't as sweet as what we're used to. So we got the Bailey's cheesecake expecting like we'd be super into it. I wasn't that into it. I like the chocolate Bailey's cheesecake we can get at Aldi here around St. Patrick's Day better. I think it's sweeter.
I think I had the problem that I had a Bailey's cocktail before we had the cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting to have the same flavor.
Yeah, it was a lot lighter.
Yeah.
People were really nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't ask them to open doors for us, but when they saw me coming with a wheelchair, they're like, oh, here, let me get the door for you.
But so this pub we went to called Darky Kelly's is not as bad as it sounds. It's not that Kelly was dark. Not the racist thing is that Kelly's named after was someone that the church had burned as a witch.
And she was apparently a brothel owner.
Yeah.
Later on, they decided, oh wait, she wasn't a witch. We shouldn't have burned her at the stake. But you know, the church in the 1700s.
But then they found out that she was a mass murderer.
Okay, no, they didn't find out. What they found is that there were some bodies at her brothel, which means she may have been a serial murderer. But there were other ways for bodies to get there.
Yeah.
Like, at that time period, people died. I mean, at all time periods, people died. But especially 1700s, there are lots of ways for people to die.
At the very least, she was collecting bodies for some reason.
Or those are just people who died of diseases and that's where they buried them. Like, they didn't have antibiotics yet. People died.
If only we had a time machine in CSI, you could figure out what actually happened.
Although I feel like being Dublin was kind of like being in a time machine because there is so much history there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different eras represented. Like, we went by Christchurch Cathedral, which is from almost 1,000 years ago, at least parts of it. But then there are other churches that were a little newer, and like other churches that are newer than that. Like, we got to see a lot of different eras. So that was really cool, getting to see all the different history, reading about it. I mean, I guess some of the history is really depressing, but like also very interesting to learn about. And it was just a fun place to walk through. All their curbs, not all, but most of the curbs were the kind where they like slope down so you can easily get a wheelchair around them.
One of the things that annoy me is that when it comes to the history of things, the history that you get about a particular place depends on who tells it.
Okay, that's true. For example, we went to the Brazen Head, which it says it's the oldest pub in Ireland. But then I got this book about Ireland, and according to it, the oldest pub in Ireland is something completely different. Now, I'm trying to find it. There. Sean's Bar in Athlone, which is like the middle of Ireland, like not in Dublin. So I feel like maybe the Brazen Head is exaggerating. It was really good though.
I thought they said that their pub was the oldest pub in Dublin.
Yeah, that might be true, but they're not the oldest pub in Ireland.
And that's the good thing. If you're in a wheelchair, you want to go on a trip to another country, Dublin has the best accessible bathrooms of anywhere I've known.
Okay, I wonder if that's more common in Europe now.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't traveled to Europe in like 5 years, but yes, the accessible bathrooms, like so much better than the US. We really like their setup, and they were pretty plentiful. Not everywhere had them. Like the older restaurants didn't always have them, but like everything newer had them.
Like my stroke paralyzed my left side, and so it means that when I use the bathroom, I need to have a bar on the right hand side for me to be able to get to the toilet in the first place. But a lot of places in the United States, Anna has to go in and check which of the bathroom stalls has the bar on the right side.
And sometimes neither of them do. Sometimes they only have the bar on the left, which doesn't help because he can't move his left hand.
And in Ireland, it's saying they have bars on both sides of every stall.
Yeah, so the way it would work is like there would be a bar on the wall next to the toilet, and then on the other side of the toilet there would be a drop down bar. So if you didn't need it, it could stay up. But if you needed it, you just drop it down, and now you have a bar that you can grab with that side. So I think we need that in the US. That was a really great idea, and all of the accessible bathrooms had that.